Hey guys, what's going on? Jebb here, and today I'm going to be bringing you a market update for the 27th of March 2018. I'm going to be talking about the cryptocurrency market as a whole, and I'm going to be doing some technical analysis on Bitcoin and a couple of other leaders in the space, and then I'm going to talk about some news that's been mentioned, or that's been talked about quite a lot in cryptocurrency in the last couple of days regarding certain unsavory things on the Bitcoin blockchain, but we'll be talking about that later on in the video. But before we get into it, if you enjoy this video, you should definitely think about leaving a like and subscribing, because I make 5 cryptocurrency videos a week. So let's get right into it. Bitcoin is hovering right around $8,000. We're seeing a lot of support under a lot of the leaders in the market here. We're going to be talking about that in the technical analysis portion of the video. The current market capitalization of Bitcoin is just over $130 billion. The market capitalization of all of cryptocurrency as a whole is looking to find support at $300 billion. I've talked about this in a couple of videos recently, but the cryptocurrency market has had a bit of a double bottom, as we can see right here on the chart here on CoinMarketCap. We've had a little bit of a double bottom in the cryptocurrency market capitalization, right around $280 billion right here back on February the 6th, and right back here right around March 18th. So we did have a double bottom there. That's good support for the cryptocurrency market moving forward. I think that we're probably getting close to the end of the bear market that we've been in. I'm going to be talking about that again later, as I said. But right now we're looking to see if we can test 300 billion as support. The Bitcoin dominance is hanging right around 45%. It's been sitting up here for the last couple of weeks. It's been doing a gradual uptrend for the last about a month and a half, as we saw these lows down here in late January and early February. As the Bitcoin dominance continues to rise, a lot of the value is leaving the altcoins and moving into Bitcoin, hopefully setting up for a Bitcoin bull run moving into the rest of the year. But let's go back here to the main page here on CoinMarketCap. A lot of the coins are down a little bit today. We're not seeing a whole lot of movement today. We're seeing a bit of sideways trading over the last about 12 to 24 hours. EOS is up 11%. It's been doing a lot of things lately. It had a nice little spike a couple days ago. Tron is up 8.6%. I know a lot of you guys are big fans of Tron. Verge is up 6.83%. Ontology has come out of nowhere. It's up 41%, and that's an interesting one. A lot of these coins are seeing kind of little spikes today. BAT is up 20% in the last 24 hours. So let's get right into the technical analysis portion of the video. As always, I'm going to start with Bitcoin because what you guys are probably the most familiar with. So let's get into this. Let's talk about, how should we start this? Let's go out and zoom out on this. I want to show you this thing first. As I talk about in pretty much every single video I do regarding technical analysis with Bitcoin, there's 2 trend lines that I focus on very heavily in Bitcoin, and one of them is this long-term uptrend that we have here. Let's zoom out a little bit so you can see it. That we have here, starting down here at $1,800, that we have a support here at $3,000. That kind of formed the uptrend, and then we got support here right around $6,000 back on February the 6th at the bottom of the Bitcoin bear market. And the other trend I want to show you is this downtrend right here. It's this one right here that I'm clicking on. This has a touch up here at 20,000, here at 17,000, here at 12,000. And if we zoom in, I have a lot of lines here on the chart, but I hope you can see this one right here, that one right there. This one is that long-term downtrend that I talk about so much. Let's put that back where it belongs. And as you can see, we've actually gotten above it. I have a lot of lines here. I apologize for that. But if you can see it, we've gotten above it, and we're kind of falling down to try and test it. But right now, we're actually getting support on a little bit of a trend line. Pretty much every single market right now, excluding Bitcoin, is sitting right above support, which is really a good thing, because we could see this as being a bottom, either be it a short-term or a like mid-term to long-term bottom. We could see that this could potentially be the bottom. Where the market is right now could very easily be the bottom. We'll see. We'll have to see what happens. I'm not totally convinced that the bear market rather is over. But as I've said in a lot of videos, pretty much anything above this long-term downtrend that Bitcoin is under, I consider the bull or anything above this long-term downtrend, I consider the Bitcoin bull market. Anything below it, I consider the Bitcoin bear market. I've said that for over a month now, and I maintain that. So that's why I'm saying that we're kind of moving into bullish territory even though the last couple of days have been bearish. But what we're seeing here, this is that trend line right here. This one right here is that long-term downtrend I was talking about. What I'm kind of expecting us to do is try and pull back and get support down here on this, or if we pull back far enough, we may get support here on this long-term uptrend. This is the one I was showing you a second ago. If we get support on either one of those, that'd be really good, but it looks like we're not really needing it right now. We may fall through this level of about $7,800, which we have support for back over here. We have a little bit of support here. It's not really, doesn't really count. We have a little bit of resistance there, and we got a little bounce on that last night. If we zoom out over here, I bet there's some other, yep, right over here. We had 2 levels of support right over here, right here, right there, and right there. You could kind of argue that was a little bit of a support setting level. But anyway, those are the levels I'm looking at. Also, we have this nice little level right here around 8,500 that we want to get back up through. And then we have support, or resistance rather, up here around 9,300 because of this bottom back over here. And also, that was my phone, I apologize. That completely ruined my train of thought. We have the Death Cross coming up, which a lot of people have been talking about, including myself. I made a video on a couple days ago. It's looking like it's probably going to happen today. Or not today, sorry. It's probably going to happen soon, but we've actually seen the 50-day moving average come up a little bit. The 200-day is continuing to move up because we haven't been in a bull market longer than 200 days, or in a bear market longer than 200 days. This is probably going to happen in the next week if we don't get back above the 50-day moving average. If we could bounce here and then just dig our way through this level, like around 8,500, get back above 9,000 and up close to $10,000 in the next week or so, which I'm not saying we're going to do. I kind of doubt we're going to rise that quickly. But if we were able to, we could probably avoid the Death Cross. What is probably going to happen here, in my opinion, this is what I think is going to happen. Don't trade on this. It's not financial advice. It's just one random dude on the internet's opinion. What I think is probably going to happen is that we're probably going to break this support. I'm like 50-50 on whether or not we're going to break this support because the entire market's getting support right now, so that's pretty strong. But if we break the support, I'm expecting we're going to pull back and test this long-term uptrend, or we're going to double bottom down here at 6,000. And when that happens, we're probably going to see a volume climax and a little bit of a spike that's going to set us up for a new bull run into the rest of the year. But we want to get back up above this 50-day moving average so that we can actually, well, one, we can prevent the Death Cross, which it's not as big a deal as a lot of people make it out to be, but it'd be better if it didn't happen. And then we also want to get back above some of these other levels of resistance that I've talked about so much in some other videos. So I'm just going to start going through some of the altcoins because I want to cover what they're doing, because a lot of them are seeing a lot of support right now as we speak, and I want to show you that. And then we're going to talk about this little news article over here on CoinDesk. Let's go to Ethereum over USD first. I'm going to show you Ethereum over USD and Ethereum over Bitcoin, and the same thing with Litecoin, and the other's just going to be over BTC. Ethereum over US dollar is not really doing a whole lot right now. It has support down here right around $400. I've called $400 and right around $470 the kind of bottom for it because we saw a lot of price action over here. There's not a whole lot of really, really strong support until we pull back all the way to, what is that, 350? No, that is 400 actually. These two tops over here are 400. I knew that. I was around back then. I knew those tops were $400. $400 is probably the bottom for Ethereum. I'm not totally sure that we're going to pull back that far, but if we do, I think we're probably going to end up finding support at $4,000 or $400 because we've already broken the 200-day moving average. There's just not a whole lot more support that we can find. We want to get out of this trading channel. I talked about that quite a bit also. Ethereum over Bitcoin, we're kind of seeing a little bit of a level of support here. As we can see, there's a little bit of resistance right here, a little bit of resistance right here that kind of sets this 5 million Satoshi level as a level of support for Ethereum. We want to bounce here and get back above the 200-day moving average. That's pretty simple. Litecoin is kind of doing a similar thing. Let's come over here. It's trying to get support here at the 200-day moving average. We fell through this level of $150, which wasn't really strong support, but it was support nevertheless. We don't want to go below this 200-day moving average, but if we do, we want to definitely stay above 105. We do not want to make a lower low. That'd be very bad, and we also want to get out of this trading channel that I've talked about. Litecoin over BTC, though, we are seeing a little bit of support here. I had a support line here, I thought, or maybe that was a different chart. Let's see. You could call that support. What I'd really like to call support is right down here around 1.5 million Satoshis. Litecoin is still really far up here on the chart. It had a huge run a couple weeks ago, or not a couple weeks ago, that was in December. It's had a huge run. It fell bearish out of this consolidation pattern here, excuse me. We fell out of this. Litecoin is still pretty high up here on its Bitcoin comparative. It's still pretty overvalued in my opinion, although I do still think it's a good long-term investment. It's just still very valuable over Bitcoin compared to where it was, say, a year ago. I want to show you XRP because that is one of the ones I wanted to show you. But XRP is starting to get, XRP being Ripple. It's actually Ripple is the company. XRP is the coin. That's a little bit of trivia. You guys should know that. XRP, the tradable token is not actually called Ripple. It's called Bitcoin. Or it's called Bitcoin. It's called XRP. But we're getting support down here at the on the 200-day moving average. We're kind of seeing the market just kind of not fall off, but we're kind of seeing the market just slow, or we're seeing its decay slow and slow and slow. If we zoom out here on the 1 hour so we can see this a little more clearly, as you can see, it's not falling anywhere near as quickly as it was a couple of weeks ago back over here in January. We're getting a little bit of support right here because we had a lot of resistance over here in late December. Let me move that so you can see. We had a lot of resistance over here in late December. I think I talked about this run on the channel, but I think I vaguely remember talking about this on the channel, but we had a lot of resistance right here around the what would that be? 75,000 Satoshi marks, or 7,500 Satoshi mark rather. But we're seeing a little bit of support here. We could see kind of a tiny little double bottom here. It's a very narrow double bottom, so that's not really that strong. But we could see this as a bottom. We could very easily see that happen. Let's look at EOS. I haven't looked at EOS since the video began. It's still pretty high up here. We had a little bit of a support up here on the 50-hour moving average, and it kind of fell off over here. EOS is still pretty. It's still pretty valuable. It's still. Let me try and speak today. It still had a pretty good run, and it's still kind of falling off, in my opinion. I don't think this is going to continue for much longer. But anyway, I've done way too much technical analysis for one day. Let's talk about what I wanted to show you on this article. Now, there's been some talk in the community about the concept of certain. I'm not going to say it on camera because YouTube listens to what I'm saying, and their algorithms do stuff on my video. But you can read for yourself what I'm talking about here. There's been some talk about this in the Bitcoin community and in the cryptocurrency community because people have found this on the Bitcoin blockchain, because you can send things other than transactions through the Bitcoin blockchain. You can send them in the notes. You can send a lot of things. So of course people are going to send links to nefarious things. When you have a blockchain that millions and millions of people use, you're going to have terrible people sending terrible things across the Bitcoin blockchain. And the reason people are talking about this is because possession of this in very many countries is highly illegal, as it should be, which raises the question, if you hold a node for Bitcoin and you have the entire transaction history of the Bitcoin distributed ledger, are you a possessor of this, and should you be tried in court for possession of this, even though you didn't even know it was there? Now, that's the way some people are interpreting it. A lot of people are interpreting it as, well, you didn't know, so why should you go to jail? You accidentally downloaded it. It wasn't your fault. A lot of people are interpreting it that way. But now that this is getting media attention, all of a sudden a lot of people know, which kind of led to a poll that an Ethereum developer posted. Let's see if it's in here somewhere. Yeah, Zamfir's poll, for instance, got 2,300 responses. Only 15% said they'd stop running their Bitcoin full node if that is encoded on the in the blockchain, which a lot of people, researchers, I think it was at MIT, if I remember correctly. I don't know if it's in this article, but I think they found this at MIT. They found that is on the Bitcoin blockchain. And as we know, with the Bitcoin blockchain, you can't just go back and rewrite history. That's kind of the entire point of the blockchain itself. You can't just go back and delete things in the blockchain without throwing the entire blockchain itself out, or without having a fork, basically. But I want to read this because this kind of summarizes the entire article. This article will be in the description down below if you want to read the full thing. But central to grasping the matter is understanding just what kind of illicit data is on the Bitcoin blockchain. First and foremost, it is helpful to understand that this content doesn't appear in the form of JPEG images or video files that can suddenly pop up on a user's computer. That's kind of a misconception that I think some people are having. I haven't really seen anyone think this, but that being on the blockchain, it's a very difficult thing to access. Honestly, it'd be easier to download Tor and go find it on the dark web than get it off the Bitcoin blockchain. So it's not like anyone is actually going to use this. It's kind of a silly way to obtain it. But nevertheless, people did send it across the Bitcoin blockchain, so it is in the transaction history. The offensive content is instead housed in the blockchain in the form of links buried alongside the other data sent with a transaction. As such, fishing this out and decoding it would take a great deal of effort. As it would, it really is not it's not an easy thing to do, so don't think that people are going to be using the Bitcoin blockchain for that kind of nefarious purpose. But anyway, guys, that's what I wanted to show you for today. I wanted to do a little bit of technical analysis and a bit of a market update today, and I want you guys to give me your opinion in the comments down below. I want you guys to kind of answer this guy's poll. If you found out that you were holding a full node of Bitcoin and that was on your computer without your knowledge, or now with your knowledge, would you delete your Bitcoin node? Would you stop using Bitcoin? Would you not want to have the transaction history of Bitcoin so that you are not able to use Bitcoin if you found that was on your computer? What do you guys think? I want you guys to leave your answer in the comments down below. And if you're interested, you can read this article, as will be posted in the description down below. But anyway, guys, I've been rambling far too long. I think we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.